I don't think Konnan should be on the show. Yeah,
His name's in the title.
contributes less than anybody on the show, I would say. Would you agree with that, Joe?
The only reason that you contribute more is because you talk more than this guy and me.
I have to talk
and sometimes you talk more than the guests we bring on the show.
Konnan's like the showrunner. This show is shaped in his vision. So
first of all the people that say that I talk too much, they're suspicious.
It's everyone.
All right, my favorite podcast is the rest of the evening. Konnan, what are your thoughts on Elijah or the old Elias possibly the threat in another promotion such as AEW, TNA, or possibly even there in AAA? He seems to be able to get heat with a lot of fans, but could also be very likable. I know Pat McAfee said Elias always said he wanted to be a wrestler even in high school, in which they both attended, so he's a mind for the business. Disco, other than yourself, what do you think is the best dancing gimmick of all time? Lastly, for all three of you, where would you rank these all-time great underrated NBA players since they played when you guys were watching? And here's the 6 names: Vin Baker, Tom Chambers, Terry Cummings, Marcus Johnson, Antoine Jameson, and Glenn Robinson. Well, Glenn Robinson would be number 1 for sure.
Yeah, Tom Chambers was a star in the early 80s. Yeah,
he was just a ball hog, though. He's a team and scored a lot of points.
Jazz, do you mean the Jazz or the Suns?
He was on a lot of good teams.
And you could interchange Terry Cummings, Marcus Johnson, and Antoine Jameson all had similar games. They didn't really score a lot of points. Okay. I would say Glenn Robinson, Tom Chambers, Vin Baker, and the others.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Before I answer the NBA one, which I'm going to put my little twist on it, I would say that the best dancing gimmick besides disco was 2 people. Vince McMahon, when he did that WWE video with all the,
Stand back
the wrestlers where they broke kayfabe.
Right? Yeah.
And honorable mention to Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
This is what I would say, my most underrated guys, okay?
That's not the question.
I don't care.
That's what I want to agree with too.
I agree with you. They bunch up a whole bunch of guys.
I can't do that.
Yeah. So I'm going to name you a couple guys. Chris Mullins, who I loved when he was in St. John's, okay? And he wore number 17, which was Hondo Havlicek's number for the Celtics. I would put Hondo Havlicek on that team too. I don't think.
What did they call Mullen, Hardaway, and Mitch Redmond?
TMC, because of the initial of Mitch Redmond, Chris Mullins, and Hardaway, Tim Hardaway, and that was named, believe it or not, after Run DMC. And you know what? I'd put Richmond and Hardaway on that.
Richmond he's the only guy Jordan says that he would kind of, be intimidated by if Jordan knows how to be intimidated. He was always like working against Richmond was like, that was cool for him because he knew he was going to get a game,
And I'm going to throw in one more name, Adrian Dantley, who played at the high school powerhouse, the Moth out of Maryland. And he played for Notre Dame when he beat John Wooden's team, led by one of my favorite players of all time. Too bad when he played with the Celtics, he was hurt, but he still won 6th Man of the Year. Bill Walton and Jamal Wilkes, they broke an 88-game winning streak. And I think it was like by 1 point, too.
All right, nobody.
I got three. All right. Vernon Maxwell.
We're on a time constraint this week.
Oh, it'll be quick. And plus I want to show you guys I know a little bit about sports. Vernon Maxwell, right? Eric Snow, who was the point guard when the Sixers went to the championship against the Lakers.
Yeah, I would not put him as one of the most underrated players.
Just great defensive player, and as a point guard was
a lot of guys. You could put the glove, Gary Payton in that list.
Well, yeah, Payton, way ahead of Snow. And then you got Theo Ratliff. Do you guys remember Theo Ratliff?
Yeah, he also played for the 76ers.
Yeah.
I'm going to kazoo that because you picked 2 guys that played for 76ers. You don't have much knowledge of other teams.
Well, then I would say Steve Kerr on the Bulls.
All right, the next one's from Jason. Oh, by the way, when you comment on Elijah, Elias, whatever.
Yeah, bro. No, I'm just not hating, just stating. I'm afraid that if you went to AEW, so many other guys have gone there that they haven't known what to do. He'd probably get lost in the shuffle, and he'd be part of somebody's faction. I think in TNA you have a lot more creativity.
Do either of you guys have any,
creativity, input? You know what I'm saying?
It's been a while since he was released. Do you guys have any idea why? Have you heard anything?
I just have a great idea. And I don't want to time it, but I just thought this. What if there was a faction, and the name of the faction was Faction, and it was literally just like like 6 people they were doing absolutely nothing with,
Right.
and you just threw them all together.
Well, they had that with the B team.
No, listen. But here's the gimmick, okay? They're constantly, all their vignettes are shot. They're in a traveling van, right? The 6 and like 2, and all their conversations are they're trying to figure out like where they want like this, like one show is where we going to go eat, and they drive around and like, bro, the show is going on throughout the show. You show like you keep going back to vignette. They can't decide where to eat, and then they have to like by the end of the show they have to stop and get gas, and that's like they have nothing in common with each other. Like all the vignettes are like why are we like they're sitting there just nobody's talking to each other and there's like dead silence for like 2 minutes while they're sitting there. It's like, what do you think about that for a gimmick? And it's called, the name of the faction is called Faction.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. But
Well,
did they do that with 3 people? When it was like Jinder Mahal, the
3-man
Oh, yeah,
band.
right, 3-man band, yeah. And Drew McIntyre. When he was part
And then, and then the B team, and then NWO Black and White when Stevie Ray and Vincent and Norton were in there, and Horace, they were like thrown together because they were the leftovers from the NWO, and they had funny vignettes like that.
I like Drew McIntyre's character now in Raw. He's making it very vocal that he prays for bad things to happen to people.
That was great. He's been great.
I like when Barrett did that.
That's funny stuff, yeah.
Remember when he was Bad News Barrett, DI? You had to look.
I'm
have
afraid
like that,
I've got some bad news. So I thought that gimmick was hysterical. Me and Mad used to call up each other saying, I'm afraid I've got some bad